You are this time.
Hi everyone, my name is Enoch Miller, your Empress of West Hollywood, and welcome to another amazing episode of Holding Court with the Empress of West Hollywood! We're so excited to have you here on this rainy LA day. It is fucking pouring down cats and dogs and all other types of twinks, and it is just nasty out there. So we are nice and inside, snug as a bug, and that gay rug. So we want to thank you again for GayLifeLA.com for the amazing producers, and Kings Road Apartment Homes for the space you see here today. They're doing some construction, so we are kind of to the side as they kind of clean up the rest of this. If you can see it, it is a lot of construction going on. We'll go with that. But we wanted to give a special thank you to our amazing guest who is here with us today, Mr. Kentö! And yeah, it's Tachibana? Tachibana.
Yeah, but just Kentö as
Kentö, yeah. Kentö, and you can just find it, and it's the O has a little the
there's an
accent.
umlaut over the O. It's like the two dots.
He says it so much nicer than I do. Umlaut, I love it. So Kentö, you have a very interesting career from all over the world, and let's kind of talk about. I mean, you're born here in the U.S., but
Yes.
you are Japanese descent, and your parents are both from what part of Japan?
So I am Japanese-Brazilian mixed. My
Ooh.
my mother is Brazilian and my dad is half Japanese, half Brazilian.
That's why she's so spicy.
Yeah. And yeah, I grew up between the U.S., Japan, and Brazil, mostly Japan.
Okay.
And I moved here about 13 years ago. And then I've kind of been back and forth this whole time doing, different projects and that kind of stuff.
So what's your favorite? Okay, let's touch on each one then, because I mean, again, that's not too often that you travel that many continents in your lifetime, much less that many different places.
Right.
So, where kind of when you're in Japan, where did you kind of mostly stay around? Like what kind of area?
So I was near Nagoya, if you know that. There's like 3 major cities: Tokyo, Nagoya, and Osaka.
Okay.
And Nagoya is kind of like in the middle of Tokyo and Osaka.
Okay.
And I actually was about 15 minutes south of Nagoya in this little town called Kuwana, which means mulberry.
I just like because I can hear him say all these all day, so we
Kuwana.
can just do that.
Yeah, and so it's pretty much there. It's a very rural place.
Okay.
Nagoya is a huge city, but where I grew up, it was like rice fields and country bumpkins.
Was
and
it very
like,
traditional, like
very,
Japanese?
Very traditional. Like even the way that we would speak is like an old school way of talking, but like in a more modern way. And I would like travel an hour on my bike to go to school, and like typhoons, and throw my friends off into the rice fields and shit like that, But yeah, it was a totally weird experience when you compare to like living in LA or New York or something.
Oh yeah, exactly. And so then Brazil, and then going there, what part, when you guys stayed in Brazil, where were you guys at?
I was either in Paraná, which is the south of Sao Paulo, or Rio de Janeiro, which is like north-ish.
We could just have him list all the places he's lived all day.
Yeah.
Just like that'd be
So
it.
it's like either I would go there, and I would go pretty much like sometimes in the summer or in the winter, depending on
just the time.
The
So
time
what was that like as a young kid? I mean, again, it's a lot going from one place to another. For you, did you think it really kind of helped form kind of you as an individual, being able to have all this experience in travel and culture?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of interesting because in Japan, you're kind of taught to be like everyone else.
Right.
And, y'all wear the same uniform, and, you can't really stand out too much, and, you can't be too loud, and, whatever. And then I would go to Brazil, and it was like, why aren't you loud enough?
Color
why aren't you?
and
so I always had this kind of like struggle, but then I always felt in Japan that I was a little too crazy for everybody.
Okay.
And I think that's why I am who I am, and why, I was able to do so much there first, because I did stand out. Yeah. And I think that the people that make it there, they tend to be those types of fun little kids. Yeah.
They add a little flair to the because it is. I mean, actually, both communities are very steeped in traditional aspects. I mean, especially Japan has huge cultural ties to so many different things and a lot of heritage. And same in Brazil. Brazil has a huge, colorful history. Right. So you're right. It is the kind of a clash of cultures in a sense. Right. With the two of those kind of coming together. And for what about you? What was your favorite aspect about? Let's touch on each one. What's your favorite aspect about Japan, Brazil, and then coming to the U.S.? What was one of them? So we'll start with Japan. What was your favorite aspect about that?
As much as I love being different and standing out, I do love that innate feeling that you have to sort of protect your culture.
Okay.
And those little traditional things. Like when I cross the street, I still bow to the car, even though I'm in the States and everyone thinks that I'm having like a weird moment. but I'm like, oh, thank you, you know, or like, oh, you know, or like I meet someone and I'm like, oh, nice to meet you, and they're like, what are you doing? But yeah, so that's something that I do love about Japan and the food.
True. Yeah. You can't beat that.
And then. And, you know, in Brazil, I like the openness of people. I like how everything is very family-oriented, but not just, like, your immediate family, but your chosen family, and the way that you embrace that.
The people you all bring together. Yeah.
And living in the States is great. I feel like you have a lot of freedom still, hopefully. We'll keep having it.
Hopefully, right?
in this political climate. In this economy? No. And
so true. But it is. I mean, it really is. And I do love the fact that you are here in Los Angeles because there is, so much culture and history here.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a big Japanese culture out here as well, too. There is, not necessarily specifically Brazilian, but there are parts of it here as well. You can see in the Latino culture that's around here.
Yeah.
So you kind of are in this area that already kind of adheres to...
Yeah, there's a supermarket for everyone here.
Yeah, exactly. So
That's
true.
all I care about. I'm like, where's the supermarket?
Because the boy gotta eat. But it's, so for you at an early age, what really got you into music? I know your mother, and you've said this multiple times, has really kind of been your inspiration for it. And she was a huge Elvis fan.
She was.
And kind of drug you into that world as well. What really captivated you, per se, about Elvis and his kind of style?
So my mom, to touch a little bit about her, she was a singer as well. She was in a rock band. She was very, very cool.
That's so badass.
And I would like fall asleep listening to her practice in like the rehearsal room. We had like a rehearsal room in like the lower part of the house.
Okay.
And I would just listen to her like singing like all these crazy rock things, and that's kind of how I would fall asleep at night. And I was like, oh, I want to like be like her, or I want to like maybe have her approval or something. I don't know. And she was a huge Elvis fan. We had like Elvis stuff everywhere, and I became a huge Elvis fan. And I'm always like into those artists that like it's like the person. Like I know, like for example, like Michael Jackson and Elvis and Prince and Freddie Mercury, even though the band Queen, but Freddie Mercury as a person, as an entity, as a person on stage. You know, those are the people that like shaped me. I think, as a young kid, of like, I want to be that. Like I want to be the next Bowie or the next Freddie Mercury or something, and in my own way.
Yes.
You know,
well, obviously,
you can never live up to that legend. You have to create your own legacy if you can. And I love Elvis. When I was a kid, my dad surprised me. We were like traveling somewhere. I can't remember if we were going to Brazil or something, but we stopped over in the States. Okay. And we were in Dallas, and then we flew to Memphis. Okay. And I was like, wait, why are we going to Memphis? Yeah. And then, like, I realized, like, oh, my God, we're going to Graceland. Oh, my God, this is so cool. And, like, it was, like, the coolest moment to, like, go to Graceland. And, like, we went to this, like, this is stupid, but we went to this, like, little diner after, and I was, like, in heaven. I think I was, like, 9.
Oh, but again, it's, like...
so cool.
I mean, it's so amazing to see some of the different things that really formulate you as, not even just as an individual and as a young kid, but as an artist, too. Yeah. And, I mean, you hear a lot of those, like, Bowie and Prince, and you hear a lot of those influences in your music, and it's a nod and an homage to some of those amazing artists that you have there. And it really kind of, what's so great is that it plays on this kind of fun kind of style that really adds your own twist to it, but still has that kind of something people can recognize and relate to, or like, oh, I remember something that really inspired me too as well, that was back in the day. So so you go to school, you're going to stuff, were you actively pursuing after kind of graduation and everything to do stuff with music, or did you kind of have to find yourself a little bit into doing that? Yeah, so I went to math and science school my whole life. Okay. And I knew I was always really artistic. Okay. And I wanted to sing, like I would hide it from my parents. Okay. Because my mom was like, you're not gonna be a singer, and my dad was like, you're gonna be a doctor, and they didn't want that life for me. Because it's hard. It's so funny. It's like, you're not gonna be a singer, you're gonna be a doctor. That is so what every parent is like. Parent. I was gonna say that, but it's like, but it's true. Either a doctor, or you're gonna be a lawyer or an attorney or something to that. Yeah. But it is very true. They have very strict, high aspirations for you. So so it was a very kind of like, you were very afraid to like even mention this passion. So like my parents would leave the
house, and I would stand in the living room watching the driveway, and I would sing until they came back home, and then I would stop and pretend like I was studying.
Oh wow!
And I would like just. That's how I was like keeping my voice up and I hid it from them. And I did like a talent show when I was 15, and everyone's jaw was like, "What? You can actually sing?"
Where did this voice?
But then
come
they were
from?
still kind of like, "We don't want you to do that." You know what I mean?
Were your parents just floored by that at that point?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but then they let me do like when I was 13, I started modeling and acting, and they let me do that. But they said, when you're 18, you have to go to school.
Okay.
Like this is something you have to do. And so when I graduated, I went to NYU for 2 years to do the pre-med program.
Right.
But after 2 years, I was like, no, I just have to kind of do my own thing, and I started like auditioning and gigging around, and then eventually I ended up getting my record deal in Japan and moving back to Japan, which is weird, but perfect.
What age were you at? Was that roughly around 20, 21?
I was 21 when I got signed, and then I started like recording and everything when I was 22, and I was there till about 26.
Okay, so about 4 years, roughly 4 years, I'll tell that. So let's talk about that, because Japanese, again, not even just the culture, but how, just Japanese music and the arts industry out there, that is an insane and very intense kind of place to be in. So because I'm gonna touch on it, so we'll touch about that first. We'll go back to the modeling a little bit, because that's a big deal for a lot of people, being again a model when you go around the world and doing stuff like that. So I want to get into the music aspect of it, because to me I'm always fascinated by that. I'm a really big fan of J-pop and K-pop and a lot of stuff that goes into that, because they first of all are intense on their training. I've seen like the BTS stuff that they do, and they show of like what they have to go through from school to rehearsals to actually doing stuff and doing all the other things in between. So for you, what was kind of like an average day? And we were talking about this before, but it's never the same. But on a given day, could you give us like an idea of what your itinerary might have been for one day?
I just want to do that Gaga meme where it's like, another club, another club, another club. No.
Well, which is probably true. It was probably almost exactly
sometimes,
like that.
Yeah. But no, I would wake up around 6:30 almost every day.
Oh, Jesus.
And, they'd do like hair and makeup judge, and then I would go and they'd have like a manager or driver come out, and they would bring me to one thing to the next thing, like an interview or a rehearsal or sometimes vocal lessons. Or I'm in the studio, I'm writing some new songs, I'm writing with other artists, shows, music videos, like that kind of thing. But on a daily basis, there was a lot of mostly interviews and little variety shows, and sometimes a modeling gig.
But you were saying down to the minute.
It was literally I'll get my schedule and be like, at 6:47 to 6:58 you'll be traveling from here to here.
Wow.
And then from this time to this time you'll be doing this interview, or you'll be doing this photo shoot for 27 minutes, or that kind of thing. And it was cool though. To me it was like boot camp. And it gave me the insight of this is what good management is. And this is a good way to keep your artists in line, to make sure they're not getting into trouble. Which was very easy to do in Tokyo, because when you're a model or a singer or someone that has any kind of notoriety, everything is free.
Right.
You go to any club, they know who you are, you have a table, you have a bottle, you have models around you, everything is free, and it's dangerous, and you're out till 11 o'clock the next day singing karaoke at Mikasa, which is this random place. If anyone knows that from back in 2009.
I could just see you sitting there in this booth with all these boys, and just
yeah, boys and girls, because it was very confusing at the time.
Well, I guess I'm 21, right? So just a little. It's all fun.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah, it's an experimentation. It's all fun. So, which is amazing. So you're kind of you were routine down to the letter. Did it really just wear you out in the end, or
it did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 4 years of that, you're just fuck my life. I'm just
Yeah, I started to get to the point where I didn't know how my money was being managed.
Oh, really?
And
so did they do all that?
They kind of took care of everything. I was like, who's paying my phone bill? Because it's magically working. And how can I afford this apartment? And then I started to realize all the expenses that were being taken out. And in the end, I was like, wow, I'm not making any money.
Wow.
I'm just breaking even all the time. And I was like, I think I need to be in control of my career.
Yeah.
And also figure out what my voice is for real.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I was always singing to be an idea of what someone else wanted me to be.
Right.
And I'm not complaining about it because it shaped me and it helped me know who I am. But if I would have kept going, I don't think I would have been able to discover that in my own way.
Yeah.
But maybe, I don't know, but I think I made the right decision.
You hear from a lot of different artists, especially in the music industry, they either try to make you really, really gay or really, really closeted. And they really kind of hardly ever do they give you the freedom to kind of be you, and it's kind of once you kind of strike out on your own or kind of really find someone that's like, you know what, I'll let you do you, I just want to brand you. So did you find that they were... Well, I mean, were you even really out in Japan? I mean, because that's a cultural...
Yeah, they didn't really want me to go out to, like, gay things.
Okay.
And if I did go to gay things, I had to be with, like, other artists that were women. Like my friend Crystal K or my friend Benny, or if you know those artists in Japan, they're amazing. And so that it kind of was like, oh, I'm going out with my girlfriends, and they wanted me to go to a gay place.
Got it. So
but I was like, like, oh, who's that? Oh, and then get their number, and then
Did you have to be very careful with it because because it is such a cultural faux pas, especially. I mean that wasn't that long ago too for you, so I mean it's still.
I always felt like I was on the verge of being outed, and that feeling of like personally being like, I don't care, I don't want to deny. I never denied anything, but I was never asked either.
Well, but it's like, I mean, it's like,
it's like don't ask people.
Don't ask, don't tell kind of thing. It was like, no one brought it up, so I didn't need to bring it up. So kind of thing, which I get. And again, it's and you have to be very careful also because people can be very crazy, especially in countries like that where it's not a very widely accepted type of, again, being identified as anything like that.
And being gay in Japan, for the most part, I think it's changing now, but when I was still living there, it was almost like people would I'd meet people and they would be like, but you don't look gay, or you don't act gay, or you don't sound gay, and I'm like, well, what does that mean? And they're like, well, like, you don't want to be a woman, you're still a man, and I'm like, that's what gay is.
Yeah. There's a difference between being gay and wanting to be transgender.
And wanting to be trans.
Yeah.
And so, but they don't really get that.
So they kind of just assume that's all that is. Because I know, I mean, again, there is facets of that culture that are very accepting of it, of men doing, like, cross-dressing and different stuff like that, but... Which
is fun, by the way.
Oh, yeah. I can only imagine her... You need to do a photo shoot with a kimono one of these days and get some like, kabuki or, I don't know, some crazy, like...
Throw out the references.
Well, I'd love to see some Harajuku, like, going on up in here.
Yeah,
Get you some crazy hair and some, like, really crazy... That would be... I'll have you and Sean do that one of these days. I'll be a fly on the wall with that one. But it is. I mean, it's a very it's kind of, if it's placed in some area, it's in that box and only in that box, and it doesn't go outside that box. Right. So for you getting out of that and starting to kind of basically strike out on your own and really do this, you said they were. You had mentioned to me before that they were very supportive of you moving to the States to pursue your career. What was that conversation like with them when you were like, you know what, I would like to do this on my own?
Well, the tsunami had happened.
Okay.
And so everything in the industry was kind of slowed down a little bit.
Right.
And I had an album that was supposed to come out, and it ended up being pushed and pushed and pushed. And I was just like, and I had one album out before that, but I wanted my second album to come out, and I was like, well, I think I want to go to the States. And they kind of were like, okay, well, you did the job. So they ended up selling the songs to another artist. They made their money. I didn't have any obligations contractually, and then they supported me coming out here and helped me get.
That's really great, though. I mean, they kind of helped you.
Yeah, and I had great management.
That's good.
They were like my friends.
Uh-huh.
I felt like I was worked really hard, but I never felt like I was working.
Yeah.
I always had a good time.
Well, that's good, and that's exactly what you want in any kind of career, is that you don't feel like it's a job every single day, and that's very easy to do, especially when you're going as much as you are. So I'd like to just kind of jump back a little bit and touch on the modeling aspect of it all, because you do that was kind of in tandem with everything at the same time.
Yeah, in Japan, they believe in like that sort of triple threat exposure type thing, where they want me to model, act, and sing if you're going to be a singer.
Right. Well, and part of the acting is honestly you're doing branding, you're doing sales, and all that kind of stuff as well,
and
being
those,
an icon.
Exactly, and those kinds of endorsements make you more money, and make your management more money. So it's a smart idea. In case your music isn't selling well, you find ways to make it sell better, or you do a TV show and then your song is the theme song, or things like that.
Exactly.
So there's all these different ways that they try to make money for you.
Yeah, which is great that they kind of do that. So on the modeling aspect of it all, I mean, you started even before the music.
Right.
So getting into that, because How old exactly?
13 when I started.
So 13 when you started doing modeling. What was that experience like for you? Because I mean, as modeling again is another very rough industry. It can be very brutal sometimes. People are assholes.
Right.
And so being that young going into it, what were your kind of earliest experiences of doing photo shoots and doing stuff with photographers? Was it a little bit daunting, or were you kind of just like, I'm gonna go for it?
I thought it was. So I was like really tall for my age when I was 13. So I think that they expected I was gonna probably do like so well. So I had all these like designers and stuff after me. I never really felt uncomfortable in the beginning. It was more when I like was a little bit older that I was like, oh, I'm not like that typical model.
Yeah.
Like I'm more of like that sort of wafy, undergroundy kind of
like
heroin chic kind of thing, minus the heroin.
Heroin chic.
Welcome to the stage, heroin chic.
I do love that though. That is a great stage name. Oh my god! But it is, I mean, I honestly, I wouldn't say heroin chic, but I think more of like a. I mean, it looks very much like a D&G kind of model.
Right.
It's like, I mean, it's the very kind of very like.
Yeah, one of my first jobs was Dior.
Oh, okay.
So it was like that kind of vibe.
Very luxury, very kind of like.
And I had long hair.
Oh, you did. Oh, even better. You just like do the wave, but it is. I mean, that's honestly that's the look they kind of go for.
Yeah.
It's that, honestly, I think it's very European in a sense.
Right.
It's got that very almost German look to it, where it's just that stark. So getting into it, you're again, and now you're doing both the coupling of music and modeling. Mm-hmm. Did you find that it was very easy to do both, or did kind of one conflict a little bit with the other, on your opinion?
I think modeling helps me as an artist, because a lot of artists, when they have to take their artist photos and stuff, it's daunting because you're like in front of these cameras and you're like, what do I do? Or you can do like the Bieber thing, like it's like one or the other. But it's like,
that was so perfect because that's exactly what it looked like.
Kate McKinnon version.
Right. But it was. But I mean, it is. It's just like you know how to find your light. You know how to find your pose. You know exactly which side of your face looks better. Like you know all your different angles and everything like that. So that's really amazing that it kind of helped in tandem with the two of those and really promoted that. So moving to the States now, were you able to easily transition that into as well with the singing?
Yeah, I was modeling in New York.
Okay.
While I was in school, to just have some extra money to go out and have fun. And but it was a different industry in New York.
Yeah.
It's very competitive there.
Yes.
But I met a lot of amazing people, and I was able to eventually meet some music people and start like making little demos and stuff like that.
So what was your favorite facet about doing modeling? Like was there one thing that really kind of stood out to you that you really enjoyed throughout the whole experience?
I really liked being able to travel.
Okay.
For free.
For free.
You would meet like the most amazing people in the world.
Yeah.
And like you'd be invited to cool parties, and you'd make friends that would travel with you, kind of, because like you'd be in Taipei for 3 months, and then you'd be like, oh, are you going to Paris for next month? Yeah, I'm gonna be there for a month. Oh my god, I can't wait to see you. And then you end up like living with them because you're in the same agency, or and things like that, or like or people would date each other and be like, oh, I met your girlfriend in Korea, like, I was there for 2 weeks for a job, and oh, that's great, things like that. And so that was really cool because you created this network of people all around the world, and I still have friends that are like, come visit me in Poznan in Poland, or come visit me in Paris, or oh my god, I just moved to wherever, like come, and I love that, and we all still keep in touch, friends that I've known forever, and people that I met when they were 13 and I was 20 or 19, and now they're like old enough to have kids, and it's just weird, but it's cool.
And so it's just kind of this little family that you
and they're so supportive.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and pretty people like me.
well, we'll see about that. No, but it is true. I mean, it's
not mean that pretty people.
No, right? Pretty privileged.
I talk about that sometimes. Actually.
No, it is. It is very true. It is very true. Everyone jokes about it, but it's actually, and it is. I mean, most of those people typically are. I mean, they're very nice. They're very. I mean, they're there to have fun. They're there to just kind of be themselves, and they usually are like looking for an outlet to not have to be in this box of all this stuff
I think the friends that I met were people that had substance as well. I mean, there were obviously the vapid models that just would complain about everything, and it was like annoying. But then you meet the amazing people that are, like some of them are chefs now, or some of them have dance studios, or just
that's
cool
awesome.
things.
No, that's amazing, and that's just so great when you can kind of build something more than just it's just a job, like you said. It's making all these connections and making these people, and it was friends and people that you built relationships with. So let's get to the U.S. Holla, the U.S. of holes. Right now it is. And so you started out kind of in 2013 with started releasing your debut. It was an EP called Complicated, and that had 3 songs with it, and it was so Complicated was one of them.
Yeah, Complicated, Runaway, and We Are Fire were the 3 songs on the EP.
And you were doing them, and there's kind of this whole theme. And what was the general theme that you wanted to kind of convey with these songs?
So I'm obsessed with, like, visually, it was based off of an H.G. Wells book called The Time Machine.
Yes, I love Time Machine.
Yeah, the original visuals from the original movie, and also parts of the book that. So it was kind of like that idea of like time travel, space travel sort of feel, and the theme was kind of like different aspects of going through a relationship. Like Complicated was about a long distance relationship. Runaway was about a breakup, and We Are Fire was about just like really good sex.
Yeah, the passion. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. And so with coming up with these, were these things you had kind of been working on through your entire career before, or was it something you sat down and said, no, I want to create this EP with these songs in mind?
When I came here, I wanted to do, because I did pop music in Japan. And I kind of wanted to do something a little more pop dance oriented. And kind of experiment and see where I lie. And I think now I'm more in the middle of those two. And I met this producer, Frank Music, who's
phenomenal.
Yeah, he's amazing. I had never met him before, but I wanted to work with him. And I remember I like DM'd him a bunch of times and he never responded. And so I like found his studio and waited outside, and he showed up and I was like, "Hi, I'm Kentö, I'm working with you." And he's like, "What?" And I was like, "I'm working with you." And he just thought it was funny, and he's like, "Come see my studio." And then we wrote Complicated that night.
And again,
like 30 minutes.
This is what it takes. Perseverance is key. You think it's not that? I mean, it's not that easy to just go and just be like, "Hey, let's make this happen." That's what it takes.
But I was like shaking too. I was like, I'm doing this right now, And then when I finally got in the studio, it was comfortable.
I just love that you stalked him, it had that dedication. Where you get it. You can't do this in LA. Where else can you do it?
Yeah. They're not like hard stalking. No, just like casually.
But the dedication to find out, like, hey, I'm gonna find out where his studio is and gonna try and like meet this person.
Right.
So, it's okay. So he was just like, come into my studio.
Yeah, he just thought I was funny, and he's like, what's your story? And I told him, he's like, oh, that's so cool. I love Japan. I want to work there sometime.
Wow.
And so we just hit it off, and he was a super cool guy, and he taught me so much. And I'm really thankful for him.
So, and I mean, you've obviously written music throughout the rest of your career, and like you've already been accustomed to that. So it probably wasn't too difficult to come up with these different songs.
No, and we write together so quick. Like we would write songs in like 15 minutes.
Oh wow!
And because we were just like, oh, what about this? What about this? Ooh, yeah, and then like this sounds bonkers. Let's do it. You know? And
so for your how your mind works and your visual process and creative process, how do you go about, in a sense, coming up with a theme or coming up with either all the words together, or how do you take a song and make it happen and put words to paper?
A lot of times I'll hear the beat and I'll see a visual.
Okay.
And then I'll like kind of research a visual in my mind, or like look up references, and I'll be like, oh, that's cool, I want to write about that.
Okay.
And then other times, something happens to someone or something's happening to me, and I want to write about that.
Okay.
But I'm very visual first.
Okay.
More than anything.
And so from that comes the whole inspiration of how you kind of put everything together. And with Complicated and the whole EP with that, were there specific instances in your mind or memories that you were taking from with, again, a new relationship, a long distance relationship, a breakup, and something that was just great sex?
Yeah.
Were there different things you were taking from in your own life to kind of help infuse into the songs?
Yeah, like Complicated, I was dating this guy in Brazil, and I would go back and see him as much as I could, but he just would make it out of nowhere. He would just make it complicated. Like he, that's what, like gotta complicate it all, because it would make it so complicated all the time for no reason, and I'd be like, can you just chill? I'm here working, and I'm here living my life, and I want to come back and create a life with you, and I can't do that if I'm not doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but I get it. You know, he had his own stuff going on, and you know, but I had to write a song about it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you gotta Taylor Swift that shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so and then Runaway. What was kind of something with that one?
Runaway is it's all about the same person.
Oh, so it's all the same person.
It's all the same person.
Okay.
Actually, I Adele Guilherme, I Adele you. He knows it though. It's fine. He can't speak English.
He's never gonna know. All he'll hear is his name.
Yeah. So Runaway was about him and I were engaged, and and then in the end he didn't end up going through with it.
Wow.
And so I was just like, and everything in the lyrics are very specific.
Okay.
Like if you, like I'm probably the only person that understands it.
Yeah.
Like there's like a line like, you know, this is cold even for goodbye.
Wow.
But it's like because like he was so cold the way like everything happened, you know, and you know, like run away back to the future where it all began.
Yeah.
It's kind of like let's go back to where we thought we'd have a future together. Mm-hmm. Like, and now it's like you're running away from our future kind of moment. Like, so there was all these things that were very specific to me that I just sounded cool when I sang them, and no one will understand, but it's fine. I won't ask about the other one because I kind of we garner what that one's all about.
Yeah,
well, it's like, you know, when you're on fire and you're like, ooh, this is great. You know?
Yeah. And it's Latino, so it's a spice. And so okay, so you've put this out there. Were you kind of worried about the initial response from people? I mean, you probably already have a decent fan base from Japan. And probably some international.
Well, I was a little bit worried about my fan base in Japan because they were used to me being like this punk guy.
Right, the pop punk guy.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden I'm doing like EDM kind of music, and so, but they were really supportive and cool with the new sound. And then I didn't know what was going to happen when I released the EP, or even when I released the first lyric video,
right,
which complicated. And I remember going to bed, and you know there was like 20 views that were probably all mine.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, okay, well, you know, I'm done. You know, I'm gonna go to sleep. And then I woke up, and the next day there was like 40,000 views.
Wow.
And I was like, wait, I didn't even promote this.
Yeah.
Like no one knows me. Just that they know maybe Frank Music because he produced it.
Right.
And I found out later that I was on this music blog, Arjun Writes, who's like this amazing blogger, that happened to blog about me and Betty Who at the same time. Like, we both kind of had that initial exposure with the same person. And it kind of jump-started my career, and then I ended up getting all these interviews and doing stuff with Logo and Out Magazine and Elle randomly, and a bunch of things, and it was cool, and I got to meet a lot of cool people, and I felt like, oh my god, wait, this is really happening. This could really happen here.
Yeah.
Cool. And put out the EP, and it did pretty well, and I was really excited, and I was touring a little bit, and then I got sick.
Yeah.
So I had to stop for a minute.
so I like kind of want to touch. I mean, not harp on it, but I mean touch it. I mean, it's because it's a big deal. You found out roughly, was it 2014 or?
I found out about 2014.
2014. Okay, so 12 years you had pancreatic cancer.
Yes.
Stage 4.
Stage 4 pancreatic.
Which is the holy shit of pancreatic cancer.
Yes.
I mean, that is something they give you almost next to 0% chance to survive.
Yeah, I mean, but I was like, I had too much to do to like be sick, you know. So I didn't want to think that I was sick.
Right.
But I had to also step back and take care of myself.
Well, no, completely.
So I was living in LA at the time, and I left LA and I went to New York.
Okay.
Because LA, as beautiful and awesome as it is, it can be kind of a toxic place. Mm-hmm. In a lot of ways. A lot of people want things from you, and you need, in that time of your life when you're sick, you need people to give you energy. You can't have them take it away.
Yeah, exactly.
And I felt in New York that would be the better place for me.
Which makes sense. Yeah, I can totally see that.
So I was there for a while. I left the industry. I was still writing, and I've been writing this album since I started getting sick, and but I eventually got better, and I'm almost 3 years in remission,
which is absolutely fantastic. So that's a huge feat in and of itself, coming back from something like that. And for you, what did you hear a lot of people say? I mean, it gave you some sort of like a perspective or this new lease on life. Like what really kind of did you learn through that experience as an individual, and kind of what really kind of helped you get through? Coming through all that.
I think the one thing that I always tell people when they're sick or going through life in general is like, you can't survive.
Right.
You have to live.
Right.
You know, like I had my one night a week, even when I was going through treatment, that I would go out and I would see people and I was normal. You know, I like wore a weave because I didn't want people to know that I had hair loss. I wanted to just be normal for that one day because I wanted to live, and I didn't want to be like, I'm sick, I have to survive that moment. So like that's the one thing that I think got me through everything.
Which is amazing. It's really, I mean, it's a great perspective to have, because you don't want to act like it's just like, oh, I got to do one more day of this and one more day of this, and it's, you're right. It's just that aspect of, no, I'm going to live and I'm going to continue living until I've beaten this, and here he is today, living proof that anything is possible like that. So that's fantastic. And now we're excited for coming out this new album, which I cannot wait to hear about. So what was, I mean, you're writing through this entire period, roughly about 3 years. What really kind of was the inspiration for some of the different things you're putting on as how many songs total are you going to have on the album, do you think?
Like 12 to 14.
Okay.
I'm still kind of figuring out which songs I want to keep. I might actually do some of them like as bonus material for different countries as well.
Cool. Are they going to be because you speak like roughly 5 different languages?
I speak 5 fluently, and I speak 1 conversational.
Okay, so like are they going to be in different languages as well, or like how are you going to?
That's kind of the thing.
Okay.
So I'm releasing the full album, but 6 different times.
Okay.
So the full album, every song, 6 different languages.
Wow.
Plus like bonus tracks with different artists that sing in that language as well.
That's a lot. I mean, that's amazing.
That's a lot of work. Yeah, it's been about 3 years in the studio,
which makes sense because basically like 6 different albums in a sense. Almost.
Because you also have to rewrite. Like it's not like you're not just translating it word for word.
Music.
Like you have to kind of change the culturally what you're saying, and sometimes write a totally different song.
Oh yeah.
But that still ends up in the same way.
Yeah.
Just so it's more culturally appropriate.
Well, and also, I mean, it's not everything that translates is not going to translate exactly the same that you have it in one language to the next.
Exactly.
So you've got to fix those ways to where, and then also tempo. I mean, you got to make it fit into how the tempo fits based on how you're saying it. So there's all these different things you're working on. So for you in doing this, I mean, this massive project, what do you feel was the hardest part of working through all of it? Because the writing's not that big of an issue for you. I mean, you've got that kind of down.
Like, writing in different languages, like writing in Japanese and English and Portuguese is easy, but like writing in French and Spanish was a little harder for me because I didn't natively write in those languages.
You were just more conversed in that.
Yeah, so it was like stylistically or poetically, I wasn't sure like how to, but I had some help with some writers as well.
Okay. So in the collaboration of all this, how many people do you think kind of added to helping you kind of create all this?
Probably about 5 people.
Okay.
Yeah, like in the writing process, and then probably like 10 producers.
And
I produce some of my own things as well.
Yeah. So what? So with all the songs, kind of what would you say would be the overall theme of this album, and what you're trying to convey to your audience for what they're going to expect from it?
So the album is called Matahari, which means sunrise in Bahasa Indonesia.
Okay.
And it's based off of this dancer in like the early 1900s who was married to a general, moved to Java. Her kids died. She ran away from her husband and decided to take sort of like the dance style that was popular there and bring it to France.
Oh wow!
And pretend that she was this dancer from Java.
Really?
So she was like the like original Marilyn Monroe in my eyes.
Wow!
And so I was fascinated by these stories of like trying to make it. And so I started writing about that.
Okay.
And writing about what it feels like to be outside of the table and also in the table, if you get a sense of what I mean. Like if you're at a club and you're watching the people, with the bottle, or you're in, and so those different perspectives. And I know what both is like. Yeah. And I thought it was cool to write about and to call some people out without them knowing it.
Ooh, yay. Yeah. Some more Adele moments. I love that.
You gotta do it. You gotta write from somewhere.
I mean, but honestly though, it's like, and if not everyone, quite frankly, pulls from their own personal experiences. Yes. And so you're gonna have some of these things where like, it helps you actually kind of get it out and off your chest, being able to just kind of, because this is how you express yourself, is through your music. And so getting it out there and just being like, this is what it is. So when do you anticipate potentially this all wrapping up and like the final, like, are you gonna do it just a few songs at a time, or are you gonna do it all at once? Like, what's your idea for?
So I'm releasing a feature next month.
Okay.
With Dave Edwards, if you know the
yes.
DJ producer
Yes.
Dave Edwards. The song is called "A Little Too Much."
Okay.
It's basically. Okay, so it's about an ex of mine who's also a singer, and he wrote this song that basically the gist of it was like, I should care but I don't.
Ooh.
And so my response to that was, I think I care a little too much.
Oh wow.
Because it's someone that, and when I heard the song, I was like, whoa, that's really specific. So now I'm about to get really specific too. But like, hopefully that person's not watching.
Oh, the shit.
They might be. They probably are. Yeah. Actually.
They'll know. Oh, they'll know. But that's
Here
the
we
thing,
go.
though. But that's the thing, though. It's like, again, you write what you're passionate about, and it's fine. You want to. I'll use my platform. It's on it. There's so many artists that have done that.
Yeah.
Someone
but I this person I adore as
okay.
well. It's not like a jab. It's like it's just a funny. You know, it's not like he didn't write it to be mean. It's just a song that you know.
Just say it's another song. It's just a song of my expression of it all.
Right.
And when do you anticipate this potentially? Like, so is it
the end of February?
So the end of February.
Yeah, and just for this song, and then the album I want to release in May.
Okay.
I'm pretty much done with it. I'm writing a couple more songs. I'm releasing the first single from the album will be "We Are Fire," which is a song that was on the EP.
Yeah, is you just gonna tweak that, or is it gonna be?
So I'm re-releasing it.
Okay.
It's slightly different. I'm redoing all the vocals.
Okay.
There's a little bit more of like a sort of Freddie Mercury feel to it.
Ooh, okay.
Not intentionally. It just sort of when I was
happened.
done with it, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense that I would do that.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be featuring this amazing artist Nikki Black.
Wow.
Who I can't wait for you to hear her music.
She
really
sounds
amazing.
We cannot wait to have her on.
Yeah, she's a cool queer artist. Yeah.
Well, that's great, and it's also really great that you're collaborating with other artists like this. That really kind of just enhance your guys' sounds together, which is so great to have that. So, so when do you anticipate the full? The full release will be in May, and then do you plan on just doing one at a time for each? Not each album, but each different language. Do you plan on doing them like 1 month and then the next month, and like how do you plan on releasing all of it all at once?
So basically, I'm doing this feature first here. I'm gonna do a couple of features in Japan, a couple of features in China, a couple of features in France, Spain, and Brazil and Portugal. Okay. And as like sort of buzz singles, and those are gonna be like bonus tracks on the album. Okay. And then I'm releasing all the albums on the same day. Oh wow! After those buzz singles come out.
And that's gonna be right on May. That's just gonna go boom all the way out there.
Like here you go.
Holy shit!
And like people won't understand what's happening. Like it's just gonna be like all these languages, and I want to make all the languages available for every country.
Oh,
and I want it,
so that way everyone can hear all the different sounds at once. So you're not only strictly releasing that in each one. Okay.
And all the music videos will be done with different.
Oh, that's all gonna be done as well.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
There's a lot of work that's been going into this.
Shit, you were doing it all.
Yeah, it's like people are like, "What have you been doing?" And like, "How is it going?" And I'm like, "Well, stuff's going." But it's like when you see what I've been doing, you'll be like, oh, I get it.
But this is 3 years of work, all leading up to this point. So, I mean, it's not like you've been sitting on your ass doing nothing. No. And so, that was the next thing I was going to ask is about music videos. So, you already have those lined up as well, too.
Yeah, I'm still shooting some of them.
Okay.
But
for the most
ongoing process.
Jesus Christ. So, where have you found the time to sleep in the midst of all this?
I love sleeping, too. So, it's kind of sad when I can't.
Oh, my gosh. So, you were just like, go, 24/7 almost with that. Through this entire process, what has been kind of your favorite aspect of being able to get back after your little kind of hiatus for a few years on kind of getting back to just a little bit, but just getting back to your health and getting back to where you can just be back to you again. Where kind of what's really kind of been your great inspiration through this whole process of doing this massive project and getting all this together?
I was given this chance to do this, so I have to take it. Yeah. Like, no one's going to do it for me.
No, exactly.
And I know that I was meant to do this, and I always kind of knew that. Mm-hmm. And I'm just really excited to share everything with people and to, like, connect with people. Like, I'm excited to go to go back to Brazil and meet fans and talk to them in their language, and go back to Japan and talk to people in Japanese, and be here and be in France and do interviews in their respective languages, and just be like really close, and I don't know anyone that can do that.
Yeah, it's not very often that you have someone that, like you said, that natively can go up there and relate to them in their own tongue, on their own plane, just there individually with all of them. Yeah, it's working out. And so it's really amazing the fact that, and again, it's not just like one or two, it is like 6 different languages. I mean, it's an amazing feat for first of all, any one person to do. So it's really cool that you're going to be able to have this whole experience with all of it. So for you coming up for the future, do you see a lot of like plans on doing one country at a time, or would you want to kind of tour and have that tour be almost like a world tour in a sense of whatever these different places?
I want to start here, and I want to end up here.
Okay.
So, and then
so kind of full circle in a sense.
Yeah, and kind of just travel and do that.
Do you plan on doing it country by country, or would you go back and forth?
Well, especially in Asia, like I wouldn't just go to Japan. I would want to go to Singapore and Malaysia, and mainland China and Taiwan, Taiwan, Hong Kong. I love Taipei. It's like my favorite city in the world. So I was like, Taipei. And just keep traveling and see how long I can do that.
Yeah.
And then just take it from there and start writing a new album.
Okay, fantastic. Well, and you're going to be doing something here on the 27th of January. It's going to be, remind me that it's out in
It's at the Lash in downtown LA.
Downtown LA, okay. And where do you know where that is?
Downtown LA.
Downtown Los Angeles.
It's sort of near that Pershing Square area.
Okay, so roughly like around 5th Street. Yeah. So if you need, the subway comes up right down there. It's going to be starting at 8, so I suggest get there by 7:30 because y'all LA people are fucking late always. Right. So get there early. And the Lash, and then it's just LASH basically.
Yes, it's a cool party. It's a free party.
It's
called
117 Winston Street.
Winston, okay.
Okay, 117 Winston Street.
Yes.
117 Winston Street.
Thank you. Yeah. Come dressed to impress. And it's fun, and it's great. So, how did you kind of get hooked up with them and?
So it's run by Hot as Hell. They do a bunch of different parties and stuff, and I think this is their second or third party.
Okay.
And the theme of this party is Studio 666.
Oh.
So it's like devilish disco.
Oh, I love it.
It's gonna be really, really fun. I met some of the people that run it, and they were like, "Let's do this." And
party.
So yeah.
Awesome. So January 27th, 8 p.m. at the Lash in downtown Los Angeles. You can go see the amazing Kentö there, and is there
a lot of other artists.
Roughly
Nikki Black will be there.
Okay.
Jake Castro, who's amazing. Jake with 2 A's. A bunch of other amazing artists. Just go out.
So it's a huge group of you guys.
Yeah.
Is it just that night, or are you guys?
It's just that night.
Okay.
For now.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
And then you can just check them out online and just see all the amazing things. It's just at Kentö.
At Kentö Official.
Official, right.
Or you can go to Kentö, KENTO.co.uk.
Oh, that's right, because it's in London.
Yeah, my label's in.
Yeah. So, thank you so much for coming today and really just sharing all this.
Yeah.
We had such an amazing time. We want to say thank you so much to GayLifeLA.com, our amazing producers, as well as Kings Road Apartment Homes for the beautiful space you see today. And go check out at Kentö Official and see all the amazing things that are going to be coming up. So, thank you again so much for being here, and we're excited to see what the future's gonna be.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. We'll check you guys out next week. Thank you so much. Bye.